News. The Bank of Moundville offers personal loans of all sizes, competitive interest rates, secured and unsecured. The Bank of Moundville was established back in 1907. Call them today to get started. Their number is 205-371-2227. Once again, that is the Bank of Moundville, 205-371-2227. They are a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender. You are locked in on the Stingray Show, and coming up on this edition, we are down to two, ladies and gentlemen. Two teams will play in the national championship a week from last night down in Houston. It will be the Michigan Wolverines versus the Washington Huskies. We will get in there and discuss all of that action that happened this past weekend and look back at last year for the Stingray Show. That's all I had on this edition of the Stingray Show. We've got a lot to cover. Let's get things rocking and rolling.
Hi, this is Tim Brando with a reminder. Those of you on Tide 100.9, look out. You're about to feel the buzz of Stingray.
This is Stephen Ray, a.k.a. Stingray, coming to you live from Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
I'm Heath Hopkins. I'm here in DeSoto County, Mississippi, right outside of Memphis, Tennessee. You know, Mark, I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you feel that responsibility to pay it forward and give some kid a chance coming up in the ranks, kind of like Tony did for you?
Why do you think I'm talking to Stingray tonight?
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
No, I mean, look, no.
Hey, Stingray, here's the deal. When you get involved with Texas, it's like getting married to a stripper. and let me explain this. It looks good, kind of sexy on the surface. Yeah, but then you get the baggage, you get the drama, you get all that eventually comes with it. And that's what you get with Texas, and that's what the Big 12 learned.
And Heath, any thoughts on our show moving forward?
Hey, to everyone in Tuscaloosa listening here on Tide 100.9. With the Stingray Show, if you don't like it, you better learn to love it, because it's the best show going today, baby. Woo!
How would you guys like to try a caramel cookie butter hot chocolate? Hey, you guys ordered the Blitzen so much at Strange Brew Coffee House over the holidays until Strange Brew made the Blitzen a permanent addition to Strange Brew Originals. Hey, it's cold outside, it's wintertime, you probably need a pick-me-up or maybe even something to warm you up. Go by Strange Brew Coffee House on the Strip at the University of Alabama, 1101 University Boulevard, and get you something that will warm your heart and your soul right here on the Strip at the University of Alabama. And ladies and gentlemen of the Tuscaloosa area, Happy New Year from all of us here at the Stingray Show to you as you are locked in on the Stingray Show, the first episode of 2024. We hope all of you had a wonderful New Year's weekend. And Heath, Happy New Year to you, my friend.
Happy New Year, Stephen. Did you have some collard greens, some black-eyed peas, and some cornbread yesterday?
No collard greens and no cornbread, but yes, the black-eyed peas, because I definitely need more money coming in this year for the Stingray Show.
There you go. But don't we all need more money? You know, what's the fun saying? I hope that the new year will bring you a bigger pocketbook and a healthier lifestyle, because I got those two backwards in 2023.
Yep. So Heath, let me ask you, did you eat your black-eyed peas?
I did not.
Oh my gosh.
Yesterday was the first year in decades that I didn't do it. Usually I eat the cornbread and the black-eyed peas. I did yesterday. We had fun. Me and my wife, we had fun with the 4 kids, and we took them to this restaurant called Tacos for Life, and it was awesome.
So Heath, I do want to ask you, going back to last night, how much of a chance did you give Michigan going into that game? Because they were 0-3 previous going into that game in a playoff game. I gave Michigan no shot. That's why I did not make a prediction. I was like, Michigan against the SEC, they're not going to be able to bully Alabama. And I tell you what, man, they just literally wore them down on that last drive and in overtime, man. Alabama's defense got worn down there late in the game, and that's ultimately what cost them. Oh, and of course, the thing that has plagued them all season long, Heath, the poor snaps. I don't understand how this late in the season you are still having issues with snapping the football.
Yeah, I'm with you on the snaps. I mean, it is not an easy job. It's not super easy to do that. The elite of the elite do it really well. I don't know what the problem is, Stephen. I mean, you know, in baseball terminology, you talk about guys getting the yips and they start thinking about it, and, you know, they got problems throwing the ball or whatever it is. But holy shnikes, man, that's crazy. I'll say this about Michigan. I did think Alabama was going to win the game. I thought Alabama was going to win it all. I said on the show repeatedly over and over the weeks leading up to it, whoever wins this game is going to win the national title. Whoever wins it doesn't matter who wins it. They are going to win the national title. And I definitely thought Alabama was going to win it. But I definitely thought Michigan was a really – look, you don't become the number one seed in the college football playoff by being an okay team. You don't get that being a really good team. And you don't get that being a great team. You do that of being the absolute one of the very best teams in college football. And Michigan had proved that. I'll say this, man. I was watching that game. And in the first half, I texted a friend, J.J. McCarthy should have been the Heisman Trophy winner. He is clearly the best player in college football. I don't care. That's my opinion. You don't like it? I don't care. I don't care what your opinion is at all. J.J. McCarthy is the best. And the guy I was talking with, big Georgia fan. And so he was big on Jaden Daniels all year. Jaden Daniels deserves the Heisman. I was like, Jaden Daniels had better stats.
Yeah.
But J.J. McCarthy is the much, much better quarterback. And I said, if you're an NFL owner and you got an early draft pick, who are you taking if you need a quarterback? Are you taking Daniels or are you taking McCarthy? He said, I'm taking Daniels. I was like, good, because my NFL team's going to beat your NFL team over and over and over if you make that decision. But phenomenal play last night by Michigan and Bama.
J.J. McCarthy, piggybacking off of that, only missed 10 throws last night for 221 yards and 3 touchdowns, no picks. But Heath, going back to Alabama briefly, and we won't stay on this long because I know all day long every other show has harped on this. But Heath, the thing that doomed Alabama, 2 things. Third down efficiencies, 3 of 13, and 6 sacks. Those killed Alabama.
Well, I don't think they gave up a sack in the second half, did they? I think all those, they just gave up 1, so they gave up 5 in the first half.
Yeah.
I remember the first half, it was just crazy. But, man, I'll tell you this, Stephen. I saw some people jumping on Milroe last night and beating him up. That's not Milroe's fault.
No.
Milroe played a great game.
Yeah.
He played a really good game. I question some things, but you know what? There's a reason why I'm behind this microphone and not behind the microphone in the coaching booth. And guess what? You're not either. Talking about you and all the listeners. Yeah. Look, the coaches at Alabama are highly proficient. You don't get that job of being that. If there's a change that needs to be made, guess what? They will make it. But good Lord, man. These fans that are just wearing folks out, chill.
Now, in the other game, a big key to that game was the potential injury to Dylan Johnson. If he cannot go for Washington, that puts the edge solely on Michigan in that football game.
Well, even if Dylan Johnson was 100% healthy, and I'm a Dylan Johnson fan. I've been a Dylan Johnson fan for about 4 years now.
Yeah.
The 3 years he did at Mississippi State, I was always impressed with him. And his little hoodie. I didn't really care for the hoodie.
Right.
But even if Dylan Johnson was 100% and didn't have anything wrong with him, I still give the edge to Michigan. But that does put a wrinkle into things for Washington.
All right. And Heath, before we go to break, I do want to make a bold statement, and we will talk about this on the other side of the break this time next year, based off what I'm seeing with everything that's going on. Ryan Day will not be the coach at Ohio State this time next year.
I'm completely okay with that.
Over the weekend, they lost another 5-star wide receiver to the transfer portal. So with Kyle McCord leaving and now this other one, things could be amiss up there in-house in Columbus, Ohio, my friend. So, Heath, on that note, we're going to take our first break. And when we come back, we are going to do something special for you guys that's on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Stingray Show. We will be right back.
Now, this hour's West Alabama real-time news update from the Tuscaloosa Thread Newsroom.
The Perry County town of Marion is again having water problems. Several days ago, 2 water pumps malfunctioned, draining the water tank to extremely low levels. Perry County EMA is seeking bottled water donations until the pumps can be repaired. Alabama begins the year with a temporary court stay on issuing license to medical marijuana dispensaries amid an ongoing legal battle over how the state selected winning companies.
Get 24/7 local news coverage and sports updates when you download the free Tuscaloosa Thread app and sign up for twice daily email newsletters.
Are you guys looking for a secondary loan, a small business lending, or a consumer loan? Then let me tell you about the Bank of Moundville, established way back in 1907. The Bank of Moundville, located in downtown Moundville, Alabama, is a full-service bank with lending as a premium right now. You can contact the Bank of Moundville, 205-371-2227. Once again, that is 205-371-2227. They are a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender. Do you guys have a lake or pond that you own but you don't know your fish population? Then you need to contact Honey Hole Fisheries right here in Tuscaloosa County, because they offer fish population analysis to give you a detailed look at how many fish you have in your pond or lake. They can also help you build the pond or lake of your dreams. Contact Honey Hole Fisheries and Jeff Bagwell at 205-799-0192 and let Honey Hole Fisheries design or create the lake of your dreams. Do you guys dream about owning a home or a condominium down on the beautiful beaches of Alabama, say Orange Beach, Gulf Shores, or maybe even Fairhope? Then let me tell you about First Class Real Estate South Home Group's owner, Celeste Hagler. She has brokers down there in the beautiful beaches of Alabama to help you purchase the home of your dreams and to live where you love in the state of Alabama. You can contact Celeste Hagler at 205-861-5698. Contact Celeste Hagler today to help you live where you love in the state of Alabama. Welcome back inside the Stingray Show, the first episode in the new year right here on Tide 100.9. Hope all is well with you. And Heath, can you tell me what episode we are on right now?
The first one of the year.
Hey, good choice. But overall, on the radio here in Tuscaloosa, number 250.
Wow, look at us, 250. Okay.
Now, I do want to remind you about this, Heath. This time last year, in January of 2023, the Stingray Show was a 2-night-a-week show. Tuesday, Thursday, that was it. By the time we turned over to 2024, the Stingray Show was a 5-night-a-week show right here on the radio. Dude, we must be doing something wonderful.
Yeah, and we also became syndicated this past year, you know, so, I mean, the show's definitely growing, and we see that with the numbers, we see that with our advertisers, we see that with the feedback we're getting on social media. We are clearly heading in the right direction, but You know what, Stephen? I think some really big things are going to come up for us in 2024.
That's correct. And Heath, I do want to also mention this. Before we move any further, you know, you and I can sit here and we can brag to our friends and our family members about, oh, we've got the best show. We've got one of the best shows going today, blah, blah, blah. But, dude, it doesn't matter what we think. If the fans don't listen, we don't stay on the air. So obviously we're doing something right and we're entertaining, and we really do want to thank the fans for continuing to listen to us every single evening on your drive home here in Tuscaloosa and West Alabama, because we really do appreciate all of our listeners for keeping us on the air.
You know, there was a show Bob Costas used to do, and it was called Later. This is for people that are 50 years old and older. It was a show that came on after the Tonight Show and Late Night with David Letterman. This is back when David Letterman was still on NBC. That's how long ago this was.
Right.
And he had David Letterman on his show. Bob Costas did. And he was talking about Dave and his show and being successful and this and that. And he said, what did he contribute the success to? And Dave looked at him smoking a cigar. This is how laid back the show was. Dave smoking a cigar on the set, and he goes, I was told very early in my career, you can be good, they'll watch. You can be bad, and they'll watch, because everyone loves a train wreck. Just don't be boring. And that always stuck with me. And yeah, we see a lot of bad stuff all the time. We listen to bad stuff, but people keep listening. But when it's boring, that's when everyone changes the channel. I don't want to be bad. I don't want to be boring. So what option does that leave us, Stephen?
Entertaining.
All right, Stephen, take off your shirt and start running around.
No, I'm not. No. So, with that being said, with us being entertaining, I do want to start off the rest of the show by playing individual clips that were great and funny and interesting from this past year, and we're going to start with a former Alabama player who played tight end in the national championship game for Alabama versus Notre Dame. Brian Vogler joined us last January, and here is a funny story from Mr. Brian Vogler about the national championship game versus Notre Dame.
And a great story from that was we share a tunnel with Notre Dame that game. We came out of the same tunnel for the national championship. And Coach Saban went a little long on his pregame speech, and I remember the referees coming into the locker room saying, Alabama, we called your name. Like, the smoke's going, the highlight reel's running. Like, you guys got to go now. And we start running out of the locker room, and Notre Dame is lined up, like a wall at their side of the locker room waiting for us to go by because they're going to call them next. And, of course, the group that I'm walking with is myself at the time, 6'7", 265, Michael Williams, who is 6'6", 280 at the time, Jesse Williams, Quentin Dial, DJ Fluker, the five of us all together walk right by those guys. And it's, Tyler Eifert, obviously Monty Te'o, Tyler Jones, Everett Golston, all their, stud guys are up there in the front. And I remember seeing them just kind of drop their jaws just a little bit and looking up, going like, oh my God, what do we get ourselves into?
Right.
And I'm trying to run out of the tunnel and turn to everybody, bet the house, we're going to kill these guys.
Right.
So we knew coming out of the tunnel that those guys did not stand a chance.
Gotcha. That's awesome. So Heath, once again, Brian Vogler was correct in that game, as I believe Alabama, if memory serves me correctly, was up 35-0 at the half. And if you remember the coach now of LSU, when they asked him, what can you do to get back in this game in the second half of that national championship game? He said, the only way is if Alabama does not make it back out here for the second half.
Yeah. It was fun to kind of watch a game. When a butt whooping is coming, and we knew that Notre Dame Alabama game, we knew the butt whooping was coming. We all knew it. And there'd have to be a major injury and some huge turnovers just to give Notre Dame a chance. But yeah, that was a fun game when you know it's coming and then you see it happen. Like, wow. But
okay,
they had to know.
So we are an SEC show. So we are going to move off of Alabama, talking about them, favorably, and talk about one of their last losses in Starkville, as later on in January of last year, we had Wesley Carroll, the former quarterback of Mississippi State, talk about the one time that Mississippi State beat Alabama. That was the last time they're in Starkville. And to this day, Wesley Carroll is the last Mississippi State quarterback to knock off the Crimson Tide.
I will not forget, in that game, we went, far right Z short, H6 flanker drive, throw a hot route to Tony Burks, and I can't remember who the defender was, but he came in, I followed through, boom, right on his helmet, and broke some bone in my hand and my throwing arm. And came to the sideline, got it taped up. Remember Coach Kroom coming over to me and, now Wes, win or lose, you're going to finish this game. And I said, oh, thanks, Coach. I guess I'll get back out there, getting snaps under center and all that. There was a lot that went into that game that, looking back, I would have probably done differently. But, at the end of the day, we got a win. Anthony Johnson's 100-yard pick six, just the way our defense played. I mean, Avery Hannibal, Titus Brown. I mean, we had monsters on the defense, and they held their own against a good Bama team. People always think, oh, well, that was Saban's first year. And it's like, they were still in the top 20, and they were still, they had dudes all over the field that played at the next level. So that was one of the cooler experiences I ever had. I'll never forget. We're running 4-minute offense at the end of the game. We're just trying to run that clock out. We've got Anthony Booby Dixon in the backfield. We go short side, toss sweep into the boundary to pick up like a 3rd and 8. Nick Saban is past the hash, headset just broken into a million pieces. I'll never forget it. Then we go victory formation, and that was the last win, which I guess that was a good while ago, but it's pretty cool to be part of something so special.
And Heath, I do believe that temper tantrum by Nick Saban started the epic ones that he still has to this day for the Crimson Tide here at Alabama.
He's been throwing temper tantrums probably since he was 2. I don't think that was the first one. I don't think that started it. I think that's been going on for a while.
But
wow, Mississippi State won.
What now?
Say again, Stephen.
I said I think that's the first one here at Alabama, though.
I'm sure there were some blow-ups in practice, but yeah, probably the one the camera caught. Yeah, I agree with that statement. State beat Alabama 2 years in a row, and they haven't done it since. There was a time there Mississippi State was like 500 against Alabama in like the last decade. And now State has won 0 games in the last, 15 years?
16.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. So there are high school recruits.
Yes.
Who have never seen Mississippi State beat Alabama.
Yep.
Wow.
So, on that note, we got to take another break, and when we come back, we are going to hear from another former Alabama head coach. We are going to be joined and hear from Bill Curry. That's on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Stingray Show. We will be right back.
I love Coach Curry.
How would you guys like to try a caramel cookie butter hot chocolate? Hey, you guys ordered the Blitzen so much at Strange Brew Coffee House over the holidays until Strange Brew made the Blitzen a permanent addition to Strange Brew Originals. Hey, it's cold outside, it's wintertime, you probably need a pick-me-up or maybe even something to warm you up. Go by Strange Brew Coffee House on the Strip at the University of Alabama, 1101 University Boulevard, and get you something that will warm your heart and your soul right here on the Strip at the University of Alabama. Hey guys, have you heard the news? The Bank of Moundville offers personal loans of all sizes, competitive interest rates, secured and unsecured. The Bank of Moundville was established back in 1907. Call them today to get started. Their number is 205-371-2227. Once again, that is the Bank of Moundville, 205-371-2227. They are a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender. Residents of Tuscaloosa, are you guys upsizing, downsizing, looking for college housing, or even relocating for your job right here to Tuscaloosa. If that's the case, then you need to contact Celeste Hagler, owner and operator of First Class Real Estate South Home Group, right here in Tuscaloosa. She can help you with the buying, selling, and investment needs throughout the state of Alabama. You can contact Celeste at 205-861-5698. Reach out to Celeste again at 205-861-5698 and schedule a consultation to discuss your real estate goals and to live where you love in the state of Alabama. Do you guys dream about owning a home or a condominium down on the beautiful beaches of Alabama, say Orange Beach, Gulf Shores, or maybe even Fairhope? Then let me tell you about First Class Real Estate South Home Group's owner, Celeste Hagler. She has brokers down there in the beautiful beaches of Alabama to help you purchase the home of your dreams and to live where you love in the state of Alabama. You can contact Celeste Hagler at 205-861-5698. Contact Celeste Hagler today to help you live where you love in the state of Alabama. Welcome back inside the Stingray Show. Hope all is well. And what we are doing now is we are doing a year in review of some of the best interviews and segments from last year's Stingray shows. And we are about to play you a clip of Bill Curry talking about the best player that Coach Curry ever coached in his entire time as a coach. And let me just go ahead and tell you, it is the legendary Alabama defensive player, Derek Thomas.
Derek Thomas. Mm-hmm. He was not a regular human being in any way. And by that, I mean that as a total compliment. When Derek came on the football field, something in him changed. Mm-hmm. I'll go to my grave regretting that I didn't do more. I took his car away from him both years at Alabama because he had so many tickets. But I feel like I could have done more somehow, and maybe he would be alive today. But he and I connected on what was best for him, and he wanted very much to play in the NFL. And Marty Schottenheimer was a good friend of mine. And Marty called me, and he brought his defensive coordinator, Bill Cowher, to Tuscaloosa, and he sat down and he said, "We've got a high pick in the first round. We can't take some 230-pound linebacker with a pick like that." I said, "Fine, you don't have to. He's going to kick your butt for the next 15 years if you don't. So take whoever you want to. But this guy's the best football player in the world, and he's going to be in the Hall of Fame in your league. So do what you want to, Marty." Well, they came back twice. And years later, Cowher came to my office in Kentucky, sat down across from me and said, "I would have never been a head coach if you hadn't talked us into taking Derek Thomas."
Wow.
I said, if you question Derek, let me give you some football film and go look at and tell me again that you don't think you can take him with a first round choice. He was just so great. And he dominated. He blocked a punt at LSU one night. He wasn't even supposed to rush the punter. And we ended up winning the game because of it. And I called him over and I said, "What are you doing, Derek? You weren't." He said, "Well, I got there early and I just thought I would take the ball off his foot." That's what I mean when I say he just had reflexes the rest of us could only dream about.
Right. So, Heath, there, of course, was the former Alabama head coach, Bill Curry, talking about the best player he ever coached.
You know, Coach Curry, he's a treasure. He's been wonderful to us. He's been wonderful to so many. And, you know, for him to talk so glowingly about the late Derek Thomas is simply amazing. And you could tell that Coach Curry really wishes that Derek Thomas was still with us.
Yes.
And it's just, you could see the Terry Moore said he wished he could have done more. And I could promise you that Bill Curry probably thought he was doing everything that he possibly could for Derek Thomas at the end. And, but just looking back, he's probably just wondering if I would have just said it differently, or if I had said it one more time, would it have helped? And it probably wouldn't have, Stephen.
Right.
But wow, what an impact Coach Curry has had on so many. What a great life he has lived. And, better than all of us, and he still wants to improve. That's something good to start the new year.
So, Heath, Alabama fans, right now, you may want to cover your ears on this one, because unfortunately for you guys, you just got beat last night by this guy, Jim Harbaugh. But right before Halloween, we had Derek Mason, the former Vanderbilt coach, on, who had a coaching stint with Jim Harbaugh at Stanford before David Shaw took over. And here is Derek Mason talking about the coaching style of Jim Harbaugh.
Jim Harbaugh is probably one of the most unique men in college football. In this day and age where we've got Deion Sanders and, a lot of guys garnering attention, Jim Harbaugh has always been a figure. From when he left the pro game, started coaching, got into it, University or Western Kentucky to University of San Diego. And my opportunity, my run-in with Coach Harbaugh was a pretty unique experience. Coach Harbaugh, I was on vacation with my wife. We had just lost to the New Orleans Saints in the NFC Championship game, and we were taking a getaway, and I think it was, I can't remember if it was Puerto Rico or wherever we were. And Jim called me several times and said, "Hey, look, I need to get you on the plane." And I'm like, "Hey, Coach, right now, man, I just lost. I'm trying to get some things done." And that dude was so persistent that finally I told my wife in the middle of our vacation, I was like, "Sweetheart, I think we just got to go get on this plane." So we get on the plane, man. We wound up going to Stanford, and the rest is documented. But Coach Harbaugh was unique in a way that he challenged every part of his program. You're seeing guys like Coach Saban and Kirby Smart, but Coach Harbaugh challenged every part of his program. He challenged strength and conditioning. He challenged players. He challenged coaches. He challenged the administration to go places they had never been and do things they had never done. He saw things, in Stanford and in the coaches that he brought there, and he made you coach, play, and work to that standard. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that's extremely unique about Jim Harbaugh, because he's reinvented himself every place he's been. Yes. And he's won. Mm-hmm. And so, Michigan didn't surprise me. San Francisco 49ers didn't surprise me. Mm-hmm. And when you look, Jim can create some strife wherever he goes, right? Right. And I think it's just because he's going to pull it out of you, whether you like it or not. It's sort of like Deion. People don't want to like Deion, but man, you grow to love him because, he's on the right track and he's doing the right things to get his program from where it is to where he wants it to be.
So, Heath, there, of course, is the brand new Middle Tennessee State head coach, Derek Mason. Congratulations to him for getting another job in coaching. Talking there about Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, Coach Mason, wonderful defensive mind, and did so many, not big things, but miraculous things on the defensive side of the ball before he came into the SEC. And, had a great stint at Stanford, did a lot with Jim Harbaugh, and they just kind of moved on, became a head coach and things like that. Derek Mason's not a head coach without Jim Harbaugh. And it's just phenomenal to hear his story and his relationship with Coach Harbaugh and all the great things. And anytime we have Coach Mason on the show, it is a special, special time for us and all of our listeners.
Okay, so before we go to break, I do want to say this. This was one of the episodes that you were not a part of because you were sick. Here is a former offensive coordinator, Al Borges, on the direction of college football in his thoughts, and then we will go to break.
Well, I don't like the direction the game's gone, but it's 2023. That's just what's going to happen. There's going to be NIL. I don't think there has to be an open transfer portal. Now, that can be addressed because to have both is not healthy. There's too much tampering going on. Guys can blow out after a year. Mm-hmm. It just does not cater to a good academic or athletic situation. Right. And I think they got to put some rules in there. And my suggestion would be to have every kid sign a contract, just like you do in the pros. If you're going to be here 2 years, you can be here 2 years, and we'll give you the NIL money. We'll give you whatever you. But you leave before 2 years, you don't get to play. Yeah, I mean, that's ridiculous. So but NIL is a reality. That's something that's going to happen. But it's not my favorite way. I like the way when college football is a little more pure. Yes, a little less money oriented, but again, everything changes. And if you're going to make it in this, guys have asked me, "Would you want to coach?" I say, "Hell yes, I want to coach. I'm a coach. I'll make it work around the rules as much as I may not like them." Mm-hmm. But it is a reality, and if you're going to function in that environment, and you're going to, you have to accept the fact that there's things you're going to have to do that you may not have wanted to do.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we are up against our final break, and when we come back, we are going to dive further into the year review from the Stingray Show last year. That's on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Stingray Show. We will be right back.
On the next Inside the Locker Room with Coach Wimp Sanderson and Barry Sanderson.
Tune in Wednesday. We'll clean up the Alabama-Michigan game and look at the transfer portal, see if any Alabama players will put their name in and how that roster will pan out for next year. Also, in the second hour, we'll talk to Bill Cameron and find out what the Auburn fans think about what happened up in Nashville on Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC.
Inside the Locker Room, weekdays 7 to 9 a.m. on Tide 100.9 and Tide100.9.com.
Since 1999, residents of Tuscaloosa has depended on this butcher shop and grocery store. I'm talking about South's Finest Meats. With their specialty meats and fresh to frozen bulk vegetables, you can prepare delicious home-cooked meals all week long. At South's Finest Meats, customer service is their number one priority, and when you shop with them, you can expect to be treated like an MVP. Go by and check out South's Finest Meats at 3201 10th Avenue right there in Tuscaloosa. South's Finest Meats, the official sponsor of the Stingray Show. Your life can change on a dime, and if you are relocating for your job up to the Rocket City of Huntsville, the fastest growing city in the state of Alabama, you need to contact Celeste Hagler of First Class Real Estate South Home Group. She has brokers all over North Alabama to help you get settled with buying a new home in North Alabama. You can contact her at 205-861-5698. Once again, that is Celeste Hagler, 205-861-5698. Contact Celeste Hagler today to live where you love in the state of Alabama, even in the Rocket City of Huntsville. How would you guys like to try a caramel cookie butter hot chocolate? Hey, you guys ordered the Blitzen so much at Strange Brew Coffee House over the holidays until Strange Brew made the Blitzen a permanent addition to Strange Brew Originals. Hey, it's cold outside, it's wintertime, you probably need a pick-me-up or maybe even something to warm you up. Go by Strange Brew Coffee House on the Strip at the University of Alabama, 1101 University Boulevard, and get you something that will warm your heart and your soul right here on the Strip at the University of Alabama. Hey guys, have you heard the news? The Bank of Moundville offers personal loans of all sizes, competitive interest rates, secured and unsecured. The Bank of Moundville was established back in 1907. Call them today to get started. Their number is 205-371-2227. Once again, that is the Bank of Moundville, 205-371-2227. They are a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender. Welcome back inside of our final segment right here on the Stingray Show, our year in review from last year. And Heath, last year we upped the ante on our guests as we had some very big guests. We had Mayor Glenn Jacobs, a.k.a. WWE Hall of Famer Kane, join us not once but twice last year, as well as the master of the diamond cutter himself, DDP. We are about to hear from Kane right now, talking about how crazy WWE and wrestling fans can be.
Actually, I remember one time, wasn't me, but Undertaker got a locket from a fan. I forget how I got it. It just showed up. We're in the locker room looking at it, and he pops open this locket, and then inside it was a vial of red liquid. And we're like, dude, someone sent you a vial of blood, right? And it's like, oh my gosh, that's that. Holy cow, wow. And then I've had, I remember one time too, I was at an autograph session, and this lady comes up to me, and this is before I was talking. This is probably like 98 or something like that. And a lady comes up to me, and she had a homemade doll, right? And it was big. It was probably a foot tall. And she asked me if she could have a lock of hair. And I was like, no, that thing looks like a voodoo doll. And, if all of a sudden I start having sharp pains and I can't explain it, I'll know it's because I gave you a lock of hair. But, I will tell you this though. Those kind of weird, strange interactions are very rare. Most people are very gracious. And at this point in my life, one of the things that gives me most satisfaction is when someone comes up to me and just wants to thank me for giving them years for entertainment. And that happens all the time.
So, Heath, there, of course, was Mayor Glenn Jacobs, a.k.a. WWE Hall of Famer Kane, that joined us not once but twice. And, dude, I got to tell you, that was a very, very fun interview that we did with Kane.
Yeah, if you're a fan of whoever, I don't care if it's NASCAR, wrestling, football, whatever it is, think about someone asking you the question that you're about to ask. How would you feel if some random stranger you've never set eyes on comes up to you and says, can I have a lock of hair? No, absolutely not. Don't ask those questions. You're a weirdo if you even think it. I said it. You are a weirdo.
All right.
Go get help.
So, Heath, this past fall, we had another WWE Hall of Famer join us who was not only in the WWE but also in the WCW, the master of the diamond cutter, Diamond Dallas Page. And that we are about to play a story of him talking about the time that he went to an Auburn game.
We had gone to an Auburn game at one point, and I can't remember who they were playing, but they brought me down onto the field.
Yes.
And, man, everybody recognized me. And I just threw up the diamond cutter. And it was like a wave that came around of diamond cutters. And then
nice.
When I done, I jumped up on the platform. And that's where I did it. And then Aubie, the Tiger, was like, give me a diamond cutter, give me a diamond cutter, give me a diamond cutter. And, man, I just grabbed that big head of his, kicked out, and the place exploded.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's how over you are when you could do a diamond cutter on the home team's mascot and they cheer you. That's pretty big. That's pretty big.
I even have this picture right here, one of the pictures on my wall from the Alabama God. We're talking about, of course, Bo Jackson.
Yeah.
And that's a picture of Bo and a woman named Frida. Bo had, he saw me on the field, and his kids were huge fans. So he invited me over to his suite, and I just never forget him walking up from, down in the seated area, and the way he moved. I mean, the guy, especially back then, he was just such a specimen. I mean, he looked like a Tyrannosaurus, man. He's so muscular the way he moves. He was super nice. And it was a great moment with Bo Jackson,
So, Heath, there, of course, was the interview there, or a clip of the interview with Diamond Dallas Page, and you actually have a little bit of a different feeling about that interview, don't you?
Yes, Stephen, here's the fun thing. When you watch somebody and you're a fan of somebody, and I was a DDP fan back in the 90s, and I've seen the YouTube videos of how he helped out, Scott Hall and Jake the Snake, and, he helped those guys get back. And he's helped a ton of people, everyday people, with their weight and getting back in shape and things and getting their mobility back. And I was so ready to hear about those stories.
Right.
And then DDP was talking about, I own this club and I own this bar and I own this beach resort. And I was like, I feel like I'm on a bad first date.
Yes. So, Heath, to end the show, we are going to leave on some of the funniest moments of the Stingray Show. And, Heath, we are going to start with one of my personal favorites, a story from former Ole Miss wide receiver Shay Hodge, talking about Go Tigers Coach O when he played for Coach O there at Ole Miss. So my final question for you is this, going back to your Ole Miss days. What is your favorite Coach O or Houston Nutt story, or both?
Man, Coach O. So we about to play Bama, in Bama. And was this the first year there? It was Saban's second year. No, hold on, my freshman year. My freshman year. No, my freshman year we played in Oxford. My sophomore year. Man, we getting ready for the game. No. We're talking about the game. I don't know if it was pregame. I can't remember exactly when it was. But anyway, Coach was like, he stood up in front of the team. He was like, y'all think I'm scared of him because he makes all this money and he's coming back from the NFL. He won the national championship. I'm not scared of him because I'll pick his little butt up. And he picked one of our assistant coaches up. He picked him up like a little boy and ripped his shirt off. Boom! The man fell on the ground. We all like, what is going on? Like, what? And the coach like, yeah, they trying to get us pumped up for the game. Right. He was like, yeah, man, that's right. He tried to rip Coach O's shirt off. He couldn't rip it off. Man, we died laughing. Like, he was motivating, but then it was like embarrassing at the same time.
Dude, it's only fitting that we end the Stingray Show with one of our favorite segments right here. And dude, it happened during the month of October, and this, without a doubt, is one of the funniest moments on the Stingray Show in 2023. Get ready to laugh, Heath. Now, Heath, I'm going to put an honorable mention in mine. Reese's Pieces.
I'm okay with that. See, I pronounce it different. Reese's Pieces. That Reese's Pieces.
Right.
Reese's Pieces.
Hey, it's a Southern thing, man.
Yeah, Reese's Pieces, man. That Reese's Pieces. Man, you sound like it's some kind of alien kidney stone or something. You gonna pass a Reese's Pieces? What? Reese's Pieces, man.
That's awesome. Only on the Stingray Show, my friend.
Stephen, I've never understood what people call it Reese's Pieces. Reese's Pieces.
So, guys.
You don't say, my life is in pieces. No, it's pieces. Reese's Pieces. It rhymes.
So, Heath, that is going to wrap up this edition of the Stingray Show. Guys, we hope that you have thoroughly enjoyed it. And before we go, we are going to be back again tomorrow evening right here on the Stingray Show, talking about the bowl games continuing and to going ahead and preview the national championship game. And Heath, let's go ahead and do it together, my friend.
We are out.
See you guys tomorrow night right back here on the Stingray Show. And Heath, I will leave you with this, my friend. We've got 250 episodes in the bank. Let's go for another 250 to 300 more.
I was hoping you would say like 3,000 more, but okay.